This is the Cult Faction podcast, episode number 18, Dragon Knights, Great Whites, and Super Fights.
Superman.
Hello, welcome everyone. This is the Cult Faction podcast number 18, Dragon Knights, Great Whites, and Super Fights. I'm Brett Summers.
I'm Damien Hicks.
I'm Paul Hawkins. What we don't get an introduction, like
No,
and as always, I'm joined by just silence. I'm Brett
I'm
Summers.
getting close to 20.
Drop
He's not bothering with the
I thought
formalities anymore.
I thought I had more.
You two can chip in if you want, but if not, hey, I'll just carry on rolling.
I thought it might be more punchy if we all said our names really quickly at the beginning and loud.
No.
But I guess not. I didn't realise it was going to hurt your feelings, and you were such sensitive little.
Yeah, I need to go and find a safe space now. And,
Just breaking from formula, aren't you? That's the thing. We always set up. I'm your host, and as always, I'm joined by,
Just try and shake it up a bit, make it a little bit more punk rock for the listeners, and you wet your bed. Oh. So anyway, speaking of wet in beds, what else have you been up to this week, Paul?
Oh right, so you're coming back to me now that you want. Jesus Christ, Damien, you've just been lost in a puff of smoke with. I mean that.
Is he a wizard?
New liquid. I'm living a dream.
Is he a wizard?
Well, he was speaking parcel tongue earlier. Oh no, that's just his breathing down the microphone. But no, those special effects are better than some of the films that we're going to look at later on in the drop zone. Anywho. So, Brett, thank you for asking.
I've stopped caring now, to be honest, but carry on.
I'll save that for my other podcast. Okay, so I'll talk with the usual ongoing, never-ending series that is Silent Witness. I don't even know what series I'm on at the moment. As we said, there's 23, 24 of them.
Is Amanda Barton still in it?
Yeah, she's still in it.
What decade? Can you get it down to a decade yet?
Still 90s. So there's, we've watched a few episodes. There's been some, I don't know, they obviously popped up in Grange Hill or EastEnders. You look at them, the kids, and you recognise them. Kids, and by kids I mean teenagers. They're in the last one. Idris Elba was in one a couple of nights ago as a boxer. Obviously before really famous, being Idris Elba, but that was a highlight. The acting, obviously not Idris Elba, he's brilliant. Just in case I ever meet him in the street, but he genuinely he's probably one of the best actors in that episode. It's nothing brilliant. We're still at that point where the BBC are trying to make highbrow episodes, and posh people are still posh people, whether they're performing autopsies or whatever. So nothing's really gone on. It's almost lost some of the grittiness from some of the original episode, which actually had good autopsy scenes and stuff like that, and nakedness. But no, there doesn't seem to be any of this. The latest ones on.
So essentially, you were disappointed about the lack of nakedness.
Well, I was just thinking that there's no grit. There's no of the gruesome scenes. It just
checking. More... Did you say grit?
Yeah. It just seems more of a late night episode of The Bill at the moment, as opposed to anything else. But as I said, we're going to work our way through them, see what other famous people pop up as we go through, and hopefully it will get better. So that's Silent Witness out of the bag. Okay, so let's move on to Disney Plus. Had Father's Day on Sunday, obviously, and whilst enjoying the weekend, we came across. Well, we didn't come across. It was like, well, should we go out? No, I can't be bothered. Should we go out for food? No, I can't be bothered. Should we watch a film on TV? Well, okay, I could potentially use that for the podcast. So what else is available that we can all watch as a family? Not much. So I paid for Cruella. No, that isn't some
Happy Farms.
that isn't some sadomasochistic treat for me. No, that was Disney's Cruella with Emma Stone and Emma Thompson. Well, what to say? No. There's absolutely, and we kind of thought that when I think we discussed it.
Yeah, one of
a
our
while ago.
Yeah, we did. It looked shite then. So
when the trailer came out.
That's what I was trying to get to. Yeah,
it's one of those things. If it wasn't about Cruella de Vil, and if it was about an orphan that's trying to like get revenge on someone or make it big in the fashion world, and she has to use some art criminals to help her do it in a Disney style way, similar to, I don't know, a modern take of Annie, it'd be all right. But they try to make it like the rise of Cruella, and because of that, she has to hate Dalmatians. And the reason that she hates Dalmatians is they in essence killed her mum. And so they made some.
So that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
especially for a Disney film.
Yeah, but
they all stack out on top of each other and punch her in the face, or they just suffocate her? Or...
There's only like 2 or 3 of them. But so they made guard dogs out of Dalmatians, who she ends up befriending at the end of it, but then she ends up hating them as Cruella. It's just really weird, in a not good way. And you just kind of think, do you have nothing else? I mean,
carry on, sorry.
Well, yeah, I know they've got the rights to it as part of Disney, but seriously, why bother? And it's a shame because Emma Stone doesn't do a great Cruella, but she's got the makings of doing a kind of, I don't want to use it, but like a Harley Quinn side to her, i.e. she could break
a quirky
out
villain sort of.
Yeah. But then,
there is talk of a sequel because apparently it's done so well.
But
it's been received really well, by fans and critics. So
yeah,
I think to be honest, you're the first person I've heard say anything bad about it. I'm not going to bother watching it because it's not my sort of thing. But
I mean, I've still never seen 101 Dalmatians.
Well, what about 102 Dalmatians? Seen that yet?
No.
Okay. So Emma Stone actually does give a good performance at what she's being told to do, but the problem is you can see the director said, okay, now you need to get a bit more Cruella in the cartoon as opposed to wherever what relates to the bit in the script that she's doing at the moment. So she put some weird mannerisms from next to nowhere for no reason, just to make it look a bit more like the cartoon.
So is there like a really good abattoir scene where she's slicing up some Dalmatians then, or that not?
No, there's nothing like that. Nothing like that. Emma Thompson does an okay role at being the
Emma Thompson.
But it pretty much is that. It's just Emma Thompson playing a baddie, and she does it okay. But as I said, there's some good performances, but nothing that's going to rock your worlds.
Does anyone pop up we might not expect? Is there like I don't know. They often have someone pops in and like, oh, they're in it.
Dick Van Dyke, for example. That would be cool.
No. Not that I can remember. As I said, no. But anyway, it was cheaper than going to the cinema. As I said, Emma Stone did a good performance.
What did the kids think? Did the kids like it?
Well, they watched it. Even the eldest, she didn't leave halfway through, so that's a potential good sign. Connor wasn't fussed at the end of it. None of them have asked to watch it again, which is pretty much the same for most live action Disney films that we watched, and they're never really fussed about watching it again. And I think I've said this in the past. It's amazing how many of the old Pixar or Disney cartoons you can watch and watch and watch and watch it over again. Whereas live action films, they need to be, pretty stellar to make you go back.
That was the Disney thing though for years, wasn't it? Even going back in like the 60s and 70s, like most of the live action stuff, straight live action stuff, didn't really do that well. But then the stuff with the cartoon in it, like your Poppinses and all that sort of thing, that had a bit of cartoon in it. Were they Bedknobs and Broomsticks? I can't remember.
Yeah.
But most of them like done really well, but then they'd bring out other things, usually with Kurt Russell in as a small boy or Jodie Foster, and they just didn't do it. The Black Hole bombed, didn't it? Remember the Black Hole? That was their sort of Star Wars Battlestar Galactica type thing, where they were trying to cash in on that, and and it went down a black hole. I think it nearly done a studio. I think that one did. But yeah, well, you know, it's not like they haven't got the resources, is it? Well, why can't Disney make a decent live action film?
I think it comes down to the fact that back then, at least, they couldn't be edgy or have too many themes that were, in inverted commas, unsuitable. So basically, what you're getting is live action in a live action version of what could have been done in a cartoon, and that just never works. If it's a cartoon type script, a cartoon type story, it needs to be done in animation. And the likes of Herbie and all that sort of nonsense just doesn't really work when it's real people. Hence your Mary Poppins and your Bread Knobs and Broomsticks. It's got a mixture of both, so that fantasy element works. That's my opinion.
Cool. What were you going to say, Paul?
I just blame Kurt Russell for his films. I bet he was having too much of a great film. You know, whenever he got on the set, I bet he was wasted.
What, at 6 years old?
Yeah, or beating up the cast. That's what I like to think. You know, he was just getting in from a night out at 6, duffing the director in,
duffing.
Yeah.
Waiting behind the bike sheds. I'm going to duff you in.
That was probably the phrases they used back in those days. He's still in the 90s. You've been watching too much Silent Witness.
The problem is with the Disney films is that they're always, you know, the early ones, they couldn't compete with what you could do in a cartoon, like special effects or anything like that. So when you get to the live action films, the CGI, not CGI, but the live special effects or whatever, look shoddy. And the storyline's just generally not as good. So they can't compete with the cartoons. And also, it seems to me that, I'm not sure whether it was a different branch of the studios or whatever, but the whole feel of the cartoons is completely different as well. There's, you know, without sounding cheesy and corny, there's more Disney magic in the actual cartoons. Like, there was more love invested into it. And you get that, and also most of the cartoons had the soundtrack that would accompany it, which obviously got, you know, into the kids' heads, similar to how Frozen does, and all the new films out there now, where the soundtrack is almost ingrained into the kids' head as well. So, you know, they have that. Just my tuppence, or my spoonful of sugar.
Good debates. No, yeah, I think you're dead on about the soundtrack thing, because that is something that
parts to the films now, aren't they? They weren't so much so pre-90s, I'd say. I think Little Mermaid probably was the one.
That was probably the first new big one, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
You're right there.
That made the soundtracks as much.
Lady and the Tramp.
I don't know any of this. I couldn't name you any of the songs from Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah, but I meant at the time. Spaghetti. They had spaghetti and bang their heads together.
The only one I can remember is, I think, there's that "We are Siamese if you please," and I hated Siamese cats,
which we can't do anymore.
There were Siamese cats.
Yeah, but I don't think you're allowed to call them that. I don't think they're called Siamese cats anymore.
Really?
Yeah, have a Google. I'm pretty sure.
Well, see if there's a trigger warning on Disney when you try and.
No, I think there is now. I think that was one of the ones. Remember when it launched and they put all the trigger warnings out? That was one of the things that got like a.
Does Siam even exist anymore? Or is it some other country nowadays?
That might be part of the insult.
No, Siam, of course, it doesn't exist. No.
Exactly. That's my point. So why would it be an issue?
Because you're referring to a country that no longer exists, and it's insulting to the people that live there.
You can't say anything nowadays, can you? That's like saying you
or maybe once you overthrow a dictator, you don't want to be reminded what it was.
So it's like you can't bring up Neanderthal man because, you know, that used to be our ancestors.
You can dig him up.
But ages.
Probably not a huge amount left of him, but.
Mm-hmm. Anyway,
what else have you been watching, Paul? Nice sidetrack, though.
Yeah.
Okay, so Out of the Cruella into. Okay, all right. So this is a bit left field. It was just random. Shell and I were in the shut up, Brett, before you get your mind out of the gutter. Shell and I were in the lounge. Kids were busy entertaining themselves.
I think you made
afternoon. So struggling again to watch film. So I just decided, well, there's a touching romantic type. Well, not romantic, it's the wrong word, but touching film.
You watched Beaches, didn't you?
Is that what you call them now? Touching films.
And it wasn't The Champ either. But maybe it was a modern take on something like that, clutching at your heartstrings. So I decided to give Fatherhood with Kevin Hart a go. So this is the one where he is Kevin Hart, obviously, plays Kevin Hart, and his wife unfortunately dies in childbirth. So he's left holding the baby, bringing up the baby, being the dad to the baby. Yeah. And so it's all about him growing up, looking after his baby daughter. She's obviously his world. He's overprotective, all that kind of good stuff.
Do vampires and robots turn up?
No. It's Kevin Hart being playing a touching, poignant role, trying to go for a different side of what he can portray, and he does it very well. He I'm not going to lie, it's not a radically different performance to Kevin Hart in some of his other films. He goes off into those.
Can anyone else name another Kevin Hart film? I'm trying to think.
It's Kevin Hart.
There we go.
Well, normally at this point you Google it and go on IMDb, and then you come in later after a few minutes with,
Kevin Hart trying to research something. It's Kevin Hart.
Yeah. What, you don't want it picking up on your history now?
Didn't he crash a car once? Was that him?
I don't know. Anyway, he does an all right job.
He's in a film with The Rock. I think he's in a film with The Rock. I'm doing it off the top of my head, not Googling.
Well, why didn't you do your research and then?
Well, I didn't realise you were going to drop in a Kevin Hart romantic film.
As opposed to interrupting me when I'm in a sentence. Why don't you have a look on IMDb for Kevin Hart films, and then when I've stopped speaking, you can then come in with your normal spiel.
Yeah, but the thing is, Paul, I'm not entirely sure we want to be talking about this film, to be honest.
Right. There we go. You asked.
Oh, he spat a dummy out now. He's going to get arsey.
We slagged off Kevin Hart. I'm sorry.
I'm not going to lie. You guys aren't going to enjoy it. Yeah, it's not one for you, and it's probably not one for many of the listeners. However, I was ending up watching it, so you asked me. I'm telling you. Let's move on. Chaos Walking.
Oh, you didn't, did you?
Well, as I said, we were desperate. Hence the Kevin Hart reference that we just dismissed. So yeah, I ended up saying, like, we're struggling. We really need to watch a film. We haven't watched Chaos Walking yet. Should we give it a go? To which the response was, whatever you want. Yeah, if you want to give it a go. If it's crap, it's your fault type thing. Which I took that. And yeah. What can you say? I'm trying to think of some redeeming.
What was it about briefly, just if anyone doesn't know?
Oh, okay, yeah. So we looked at the trailer some time ago. So Chaos Walking, some settlers arrive on a faraway planet, and it turns out that all the men can hear all the other men's thoughts, and actually the women can hear them too, but they can't hear the women's thoughts. So there's lots of different homesteads on this alien planet.
That's a deep metaphor.
Yeah, and thank God it's not true. But anyway, as I said, so all the men have to try and keep their thoughts to themselves. Otherwise, every other bloke in the homestead knows what they're thinking. And Tom Holland plays, as I said, this farmhand type role in one of the homesteads, and he thinks it's the only one on the planet. Anyway, and all the women in his village were killed off by the inhabitants of the planet some time ago. Lo and behold, Daisy Ridley is from another ship. She crash lands on the planet. Obviously, she's a woman. He's never seen one before. All the other people within in the homestead basically want to try and capture her. That the mayor of the town wants to capture her before she signals back to the spaceship to let them know that where they are, so they can take over. All that kind of good stuff. Turns out anyway that the mayor is a bad guy. He ended up killing Tom Holland, and they all killed the women in their homestead because they got a bit paranoid that they could hear them think. So anyway, then they go off and find other homesteads. Tom Holland, Daisy Ridley, all while evading the sheriff and some random priest that whenever he thinks looks like the devil. I've probably spent more energy on doing that synopsis than they actually spent on making the film, unfortunately.
Yeah, I got about 25-30 minutes into it and turned it off. It was that bad.
I didn't go near it. My finger didn't even hover on the button for that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate because I like Tom Holland in Spider-Man, and he wasn't really given an opportunity to shine. There was
and Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, all the Spider-Mans and some of the Avengers ones as well. You know, yeah. I like him in that as Spider-Man. But yeah, it wasn't really given much to do or work with. To be fair, it's not really a great role. He was almost an apologetic teen every scene he got because he couldn't think about Daisy Ridley, obviously, because she could hear him. You know, it just got a bit tiresome. Daisy Ridley, oh, blimey, not a great role. Unfortunately, the acting in this was more cardboard than anything she did in Star Wars. Or maybe it was just the role. I give her the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't a great role that she had to play in this. But if she's waiting for like the film that shows off her acting talents, it's certainly not this. But I have a horrible feeling that she's not necessarily being asked to do too many roles on the back of Star Wars. So it needs to be she's waiting for that next role where she's not known as Rey. And unfortunately, it's not going to be this film either.
Yeah, but Kevin Hart went through a similar thing with his roles of CJ in the Scary Movie franchise, and he's done all right.
What else is he in, Brett?
a lot more that I actually have seen. I'm surprised. But no, fair enough.
The other thing for Kevin Hart, though, he's obviously been looking after himself all this time because he's still waiting for the action scenes in his next film. Yeah, so he's still hitting the gym. But anyway, chaos walking, it certainly is chaos. That's pretty much it. Other than Teen Titans that we always talk about, and some random YouTube stuff, which I don't even know what it is now. It's Aftmau or something. Just some other vlogger that we're now having to watch play Minecraft and all the other crap. Pretty much that's it.
Okay then, moving across to Damien.
So, I mean, obviously there is
what Kevin Hart films have you been watching this week?
All of them. I've been catching up on his back catalogue, and like Brett, I am pleasantly surprised. I forgot he was in Captain Underpants, the first epic movie.
actually, Captain Underpants is an alright cartoon. Actually,
is it? I'll take your word for that. There's a festival of football going on at the moment, so I've watched a lot of football, which.
Wow, you made that sound a lot prettier and more like the Festival of Lights.
Yeah, that's how it's advertised, isn't it? It's not just a football tournament; it's a festival of football
with no spectators, really.
With very few, depending on which country the game's being played in. So there's that. The only real televisual treat that I've been watching is I've been catching up with Big Sky on Disney Plus, Star, whatever you want to call it, and it's a weird one. So I think the last time I spoke about it, I thought it actually finished. I thought that was the end of the series, how that particular episode ended, which I think was episode 10.
Yeah.
Where it's been concentrated for 10 episodes. It's been concentrated on this one particular crime and the detective agency that are helping the police, or pretty much taking over the investigation. And then episode 10 happens. There's two main perpetrators for the crime. One of them has been caught, and his storyline comes to a conclusion, and the other guy is in the wind, and that's how that episode ends. He's off in the truck, and it's kind of like, all right, that's the second season. That's what it's going to focus on. Realize that episode 10 isn't the end of the season, so go back to it. And they just seem to have moved on. They've been focusing on that one crime for 10 episodes, and now that's a kind of secondary part of the story. They've now moved on.
Sounds very much like Twin
and miss
Peaks.
something?
Well, that's what I thought. When I started watching, like, I'm sure I've got this right. I think it was episode 10 was the last one I watched. I was pretty certain. Picked it up again at episode 11, and we're both like, hang on, we must have missed something. So went back and did the synopsis of episode 10, and it's like,
it's not like 1 year later, is it, or something like that?
I think there was a caption of it like a month or sometime. I forget what it said, but either way, even if it is a 1 month later, 6 months later, a year later, for 10 episodes, it's about catching these two guys. Now suddenly they've switched, and it's a whole new investigation, and this guy being in the wind is kind of in the background. You are still seeing this guy and his storyline play out, but the two main detectives are no longer focused on catching him. It's kind of how's the they talk to the FBI or whatever, and it's like, no one's seen him. We've not got any evidence.
Sounds like he gave him a bribe.
Do you know who would have caught him? Ben Barber from Ride Along, who was played by Kevin Hart.
Well, he would have wrapped it up within two episodes.
But that does very much sound like Twin Peaks. Like, once they got past the Who Killed Laura Palmer bit, then it was just sort of like it just branched further and further into sort of weird mystery stuff. To be fair, Lynch never wanted to reveal the killer, but the network made him. And then, halfway through season 2, it just sort of went down a weird David Lynch rabbit hole, and it was like, what's this about again? Yeah, that's true. So, is it still worth watching now, or is it gone
still
weird?
worth watching? And I think because I'm not. This doesn't come from any expertise about what it's. It literally says it in the credits at the start, based on a series of the Highway series or something, the Freeway series by C.K. Simmons. No, I don't know. It doesn't matter who it's written by. But so I'm guessing what they've done is they've kind of got like 2 of the books and put them into one season, and rather than maybe do it how you would expect something like that to be done, where it chops and changes throughout each episode, they've just gone, right, first half of the season we'll do this book, the second half of the season we'll do this book, but we'll merge the two by keeping one of the guys alive. I don't know, it's odd, but it is still worth watching.
It's when they still say first published in by as part of the episode, then they've really done that.
But yeah, it's an odd one, but it is worth watching. And I would describe the series itself as not quite bad enough that it would appear on Hallmark, but not quite gritty enough.
There's some good stuff on Hallmark.
Yeah, and not quite gritty enough that it should be on HBO or something like that, if that makes it. It's that kind of in between where
you know what would make it to Hallmark? Fatherhood with Kevin Hart.
Yeah, I'm sure it would.
that would just be on after The Champ and before Beaches. And anywho, what else have you been watching, Damien?
That's it. Football and Big Sky.
Football.
Well, football has been coming home. It hasn't quite got there yet, but we're still hopeful.
Is it allowed home, or does it have to quarantine for 2 weeks after it?
Well, at the moment, it looks like I might have to quarantine a bit because everyone's starting to drop like flies. Let's see what we've got left when the final becomes 5-a-side.
I'd love that.
How
to keep people entertained? It'd be like the rugby sevens, but football's 5-a-side.
But it's still on a full size
pitch. Yeah.
Run, you bastards. Can you imagine how Wembley they did half the pitch off because it's 5-a-side? That'd be terrible. But yeah, so again, I've pretty much been watching most of the soccer action, and not had a chance to watch much. Also, it's been a pretty manic week with work and stuff, so and other things. But yeah, it's I have been catching up on The Bad Batch on Disney Plus, the Star Wars animated series following the Rogue clones on their adventures around the galaxy. That's been really good so far, and I've been very impressed how they actually managed to keep tying everything in. It just seems that whoever makes the cartoons for Star Wars have their finger on the pulse maybe a lot more than maybe some of the people that made the movies.
Yeah, no,
'Cause all the Disney Plus stuff is like nothing. There's no continuity broke. There are references galore. If you're a real diehard, I know some people are still disowning it because when Disney bought it, they shit off all the books, and everyone's like, "That's 40 years of stuff that I had." Is that it doesn't exist anymore? Face up to it.
no, the cartoons are really cool.
But they do a great job, and they are
Yeah.
drawing in some of the characters from the old books, or what's it called, the extended universe? I think they call it now.
As I said to you, the only problem, literally the only problem I have with that is the fact that you can watch anything whenever you want, as opposed to being forced to watch Saturday morning TV. If that was on ITV on a Saturday morning, and all I had was ITV on a Saturday morning.
No, but they're doing that though, because it's one episode a week, so you have to.
Yeah, it's not the point though, is it? On Saturday, I have other stuff to watch, or made to watch by Connor. If I had,
but Paul, going live isn't on anymore.
It is when I've still got it on VHS actually.
Daddy, I don't want to watch Kevin Hart.
Just eat your popcorn, son. Just eat your popcorn.
I don't like The Secret Life of Pets anymore. You've ruined it.
They ruined that Secret Life of Pets too.
Is that the one where Snowball dies, voiced by Kevin Hart?
Doesn't die in it.
I'm just checking. And the other thing I've been watching is M.O.D.O.K as well. I've caught up on that, which again is also on Disney Plus. It is really funny. I enjoy it, but it's very much like Robot Chicken. You need to be in the right kind of mood to watch it, and maybe you can't really binge it because it kind of, you need a break in between. It is good, but it's not bingeable, and it's just sometimes a little bit too clever. There's loads of Marvel references. You can sit there all day and pick out all the Easter eggs and the references and stuff, and that's really cool about it. And the stories are quite funny, but it's just that sort of thing where I don't want to watch two in a row. I'm like, I enjoyed that. Now I'm going to go and watch something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I haven't gone back to it. I'm just not fun. I mean, it was okay. There were some funny bits in it. I didn't laugh out loud.
It's got better. It's got better as it's gone on, but it is that kind of. It's a bit like sort of like.
Don't get me wrong.
Now,
I kind of think that if we'd have got back from the pub, turned it on the telly, and if that was on, we'd watch an episode.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it's very much.
If it wasn't on, we wouldn't have missed it. But yeah,
if you're into certain things, I think it may have a better effect on you.
Did you watch Loki?
Oh yes, no, I have watched Loki as well.
I haven't managed to watch it this week.
Yeah, I've watched the first two now, and it's getting better. There's some nice twists. I kind of called it, which I'm glad about, and I'm right, because that means they're doing it properly. If it's what I think, it means it's right, and that's what should happen.
So Kevin Hart is in episode 3.
Yeah, he dies. He gets killed by snowballs in a car accident on a Friday in a scary movie. I can't think of any more.
In his underpants.
Yeah, with The Rock. There we go.
Well, yeah, there's a news headline for you.
But no, Loki is picking up very well. There's a lot. I think it's one of those. It's going to be one of those shows because it's only 6 episodes, and I think it's going to be one of those. Well, we don't know if there'll be a season 2. We don't know what's going to happen.
As long as Damien and you keep your mouth shut this time, and they do a Jupiter's Legacy thing, then the studios will bring it back.
I'm purposely saying nothing about this.
But I do think,
because I don't know anything about it, so I'm just shutting up.
I think Loki. That's the one you need to be watching, Damien. I think this is your toe in the water of the Marvel universe, and it's got your time. It's got your timey-wimey stuff in.
Yeah,
and they will make a second season because Loki's dead in the films.
Hasn't seen the films. You spoily git.
Wait, we're talking about the series, the fans love Loki.
I think he'll be around. So I just don't know if Loki.
He will be around until season 3 of Loki manages to find a way to bring him back into a Marvel film. In the real world,
you don't need a Marvel film now. You've got all these things. That's the point.
But that's what will happen.
This is all Marvel now.
Yeah, but he'll be back in the film.
Well, well, if you're watching
you heard it here. You heard it here. Season 3. By Season 3,
well, if
they
you
will find a way.
there won't be a season 3.
Yeah, they will.
This is already leading up to stuff. All I'm going to say is the Loki television series is written by the same person who wrote and I think is directing the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness film that's coming out soon as well. So we're after WandaVision and this. I think we're all on different stairways to the same landing, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think it's all coming up and there will be some surprises and shocks. But this is only 6 episodes. I think it will be one of those shows, once you've seen it and then you go back and watch it again, you'll get a bit more out of it, because the cool thing about Tom Hiddleston's Loki is he's very over the top, but he's also very subtle, and there might be little things that we've just missed or not picked up on that he's up to that we might spot when we rewatch it, when we find out what's going on. Because even though he's kind of going along with things, the kind of character he is, he's plotting already and scheming and probably done something we haven't noticed already.
Because you did just make that out like it was Tom Hiddleston as opposed to Loki.
No, Loki's nice. Tom Hiddleston's a scheming bum.
Jekyll and Hyde, yeah.
Yeah. He can't tell the difference anymore. He's just gone too deep. He hasn't come out of full character in 10 years. Yeah. No, but there is a twist to the end of episode 2.
Don't tell me yet.
I called it, but it's a good one. And
well, don't confirm.
I'm not going to say. But that twist does lead it into where I think it's going to. Well, where I hope it's going to go.
Okay.
So at the moment, it's joining up where I wanted it to join up. At some point, I'm sure there are other people crying and ruining it, and it's been ruined. But grow up. It's a kids show. Well, it's not, but.
Well, yeah, it's really not.
But yeah, so it's Loki is still awesome. Go and watch it if you haven't already. And I did catch a little bit of Battlestar Galactica when the Pegasus returned with Lloyd Bridges as the captain, and yeah, it's still good. I got them on DVD upstairs now. It was just on, saw a bit. It was alright, but yeah, not really had much. As I say, football's coming home. Been watching that and just working way too hard this week. Ish. Drop zone.
Drop zone.
The drop zone. Okay, first up in the drop zone tonight, we've got the Dragon Knight trailer that's been released by Hex Studios, who have done such offerings of Lord of Tears and The Devil's Machine before. Scottish independent company. Hex Studios have kind of done loads of cool stuff in the past. You should really go and check them out. And again, this is the first look at the project, which is currently on Kickstarter. So there is a chance for you to head over to Kickstarter, donate some money to the cause, help the film out, and there's all sorts of offers and things you can get for that as well, including like mentions, shooting scripts, digital art, miniatures of the characters in the film, 3-disc collector's edition DVDs, and right up to the high end of it where you can even get all sorts. There's just so much stuff. I'm just scrolling through it now. Action figures, signed stuff, things in the movie. But yeah, just go on the website and have a look. It's a good chance to invest on it. So obviously,
Summers.
Yes.
So has the film been made, or is this snippets of what?
This is the trend. This is their first look trailer of the project. So at the moment on Kickstarter, they are looking for. So you didn't read the article, did you, Paul? They are looking.
I watched the trailer. Got the link to the trailer.
Yeah, and with that there was a bit of writing as well. So basically the Kickstarter is currently it's been described as Tolkien, the mythic storytelling of Tolkien with the mysterious intrigue of Game of Thrones.
No.
But yeah, this is the
no. But I just answer the question. Has the film been made, or is it just like a show reel of what they can do for them?
No. The film has been done, but this is this is for the post production.
Right. Okay. And maybe some CGI.
Yeah, and etc. Like whatever they can get, but their previous ones have done well and gone around the world and been distributed all around the world. And this one looks to be doing the same. But obviously, they need your help to do that. But
they need my help.
Specifically, you.
Actually, yeah, you've actually mentioned a few times about maybe digging into Pocket and helping a couple of films out.
All right,
and investing.
It is the link on the Cult Faction website, and
it's in the link that I sent you to read for this moment.
Yeah, and that's cool. So I'll have a look, and if there's something on the crowdfunding thing, then
that's cool.
But the only thing is, with some of the other stuff you sent me, there was an opportunity to actually be in the film. Hence why I was asking. If it's already made,
there may be. There's the power of CGI these days. Don't forget the helicopter pilot wasn't even in Army of the Dead. They just slotted her in afterwards.
Okay.
You can probably be in any film you want nowadays.
Well, not me personally.
But yeah. So what did we think? Again, independent cinema. Bear that in mind. Budget. They're still looking for the post production. What did you think, Paul? Then, from looking at it.
So, if I'm honest, I think they're always going to struggle to do a dragon movie on a low budget. But from what I saw of so let's talk about the special effects to start with.
Yeah.
Because from a low budget film, that they're always going to be up against some tough competition. However, in the back of my head, I thought that low budget. Don't expect too much. And to be fair to them, actually, at this point in time, from the trailer, I don't think they've done a bad job. Even the special effects for the dragon, in the back of my head, I was thinking, actually, you know what? When I was looking at Game of Thrones, some of the dragon CGI wasn't particularly brilliant, if I'm completely honest. So this isn't too bad,
Yeah, I was of the same mindset. I agree with you, because to me it was like I was thinking more on the lines of like what you'd see in kid shows and things over the years, and Doctor Who, etc. I think it stands up with some of that.
It's certainly better than a TV show. It's certainly better than the one, the Dragonheart or whatever it was, but with thinking about doing Dennis Quaid that.
It was the dragon, wasn't he?
I think Sean Connery was the voice of the dragon.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, that's right. So that aside, I think the special effects for the dragon aren't too bad, and if they can get some more money, then potentially in post production it could be even better. The battle shots, and the big old battle sequences. Again, the CGI and special effects looked quite good from a distance. They seem to have done a sterling job of making them look like they're a cast of hundreds as opposed to what was potentially going on at the time. So those are the good parts. I think it's always difficult from a trailer to really show some bits that stand out. I think the close-up fighting scenes in the trailer could have done with a bit more love and a bit more TLC from what I can get out of the trailers. But again, always in the back of my head, I'm thinking low-budget film. Some of the special effects with the evil witchy person weren't particularly great, but as I said, it's a big old challenge. It's something big to take on for a low budget film, a Dragon Knight, Arthurian type of Game of Thrones, big old action film with a dragon. So fair play to them to take it on. I didn't get too much out of the storyline, if I'm completely honest. It's something similar that we've all seen before. But as I said, it was a 2-minute trailer. And I think they did all right. I'm interested to see more. And for me, from my pessimistic phase of last week, I'm trying to be more optimistic. and I've got a lot of time for up and coming production companies and talents out there. So if they need some help and if they need some support, then I think we should rally around them. And I will look at that link to see if there's something little I can do.
Yay. And Damien, what did you think?
Well, a bit like he said. I mean, let's be honest. It does look a little bit ropey at the moment, but there's post-production to be done. The set pieces, so as Paul just alluded to, the kind of the close-up fight scenes do look a little bit dodgy.
Yeah.
But again, it's a 2-minute trailer, so a 2-minute trailer that also hasn't gone through post-production. So, you know, who knows? I like the idea of that kind of fantasy that isn't. See, it didn't come across to me as being kind of like trying to be like Tolkien or trying to be like Lord of the Rings, which is a good thing, because that was my first thought when I opened the link and clicked on the kind of the start button, and there's a dragon. I thought, oh, for fuck's sake, no more dragons, no more Game of Thrones, no more Tolkien. But if they're kind of looking deeper into those types of books, which, to be fair, most of them are better than Game of Thrones. Most of them are better than Tolkien, to be perfectly honest. The stories are so much better. The worlds that have been created are so much better. So if it's not trying to be a Tolkien or a Game of Thrones rip-off, then I reckon I might like it. If it's not trying to be too, epic in its portrayal of the world that it's trying to create. I can't really say much more than that, because Paul. Otherwise, I'd just be pretty much repeating everything that Paul said.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like you. I didn't really get a Tolkien type thing. I mean, there was a battle.
Well, it said the mystique of Tolkien.
Yeah, I mean, this more reminded
in the copy.
This more reminded me of something like that Green Knight thing that we saw a few weeks ago.
The sort of folklore. So I was thinking even a little bit Robin of Sherwoody, that sort of folklore, sort of knights and soldiers, rather than just that, like you say, the normal sort of Game of Thrones thing. It's almost like this could have happened, rather than just sort of some of the stuff that's been churned out recently in the
Dragons aside,
media. Yeah. Oh yeah, dragons aside. Well, it was a dragon. In real life, it was about 3'2", probably. It was about 3 foot long. It was a little kimono. But hallucinogenics were great in those days. No, but that sort of thing, you just got that kind of more. It felt more folklory to me than it did kind of massive, huge, super battle with knights, soldiers, dragons, and all that. Is that kind of like, it had roots. That's what I was looking for. Look, it was rooted in something rather than just the sensational.
Exactly. Yeah. If they could look at some Pratchett stuff, I'd be very, very pleased. But I'm sure they would struggle to secure the rights.
Yeah, they're all being made at the moment, aren't they, Mr.
Yeah, I was going to say.
It would take more than a crowdfunder to be able to buy those rights.
Yes. Yeah. But that was, Dragon Knight. Again, links on the website if you want to have to look more at that. So
and maybe donate.
Yeah, donate. Give them a chance. Help those companies out.
Hang on. Oh no, it's not donate. It's invest.
Invest. Support. And you get stuff back as well. So it's not just like you're not just giving them your money and not seeing anything again. You have a look. Go and have a look. But anyway, next up we've got Martin Wilson's Great White, where a blissful tourist trip turns into a nightmare when 5 seaplane passengers are stranded miles from shore. In a desperate bid for survival, the group try to make it to land before they either run out of supplies or are taken by a menacing terror lurking just beneath the surface. It stars Katrina Bowden, Aaron Jakubenko, Kamiko Tsusakakokishi, Tenkano, and Tuko Tuhaka.
Yeah. There's a round of applause there, Brett. It just looks like a load of arse gravy.
Yeah,
so
everything we just said for the other one goes completely opposite with this one.
Yeah.
Unoriginal, by the book.
That's a shite. Not interested. Move on. That's what
Scenery looked good. I said, look, so full disclaimer, I'm a bit of a sucker for these types of films and shark films and all that kind of, stranded while there's things waiting to kill us. But this seemed like something that was literally out last year, and I think I'm going to say that again. But how many times? There's literally nothing original. I don't even know why they did it. I mean, at least try and make it a bit different.
Well, go on, Karen.
No, but to be stranded on a raft with a shark. Oh no, it's not just one shark. It's a school of sharks. It's like, so what? I don't know. Why do it?
To quote my McFly, shark still looks fake.
Well, my whole thing was at the start, I thought, this is a bit of a different take. I thought, they're going to be sort of taking off and landing on the seaplane whilst battling the shark. Maybe it bites it a little bit, it still takes off. No, that I thought at least it's something different,
But didn't they have that in Jaws though? There was a seaplane in one of the Jaws films, wasn't there?
There are only 2 Jaws films.
No, I'm sure. Wasn't that the one with Michael Caine in it?
Yeah. As Michael Caine once said, someone went to him, "You're in Jaws 4, George. You're in Jaws: The Revenge." He went, "The film was awful, but it bought my mum a house."
Yeah, never seen the film, but I've seen the house it brought.
That was it. That was the correct vote. Sorry, I got it wrong.
Sorry,
but yeah, there. No, it's all right. It's good to get the quotes right. We don't want to misquote Michael Caine and his army of lawyers.
Not a lot of people know that.
And there's no truth at all that he is a nosy neighbour. But yeah, so I'm probably going to pass on that one.
Yeah.
Well, I say that, but I am a sucker for shark films. If it is on Amazon, then
but it just doesn't. It doesn't look any different. Well,
no,
it does look different to open water, but only insofar as there's a few more of them and they're on a dinghy.
As opposed to just swimming.
Yeah. So.
Would you watch it if the shark was called Kevin? Just saying. Okay, then. Next up in the drop zone is probably the weirdest film we've come across, and probably one some people would debate whether or not it should be in the drop zone, but I think it definitely fits the cult movie thing because it does look like it's completely off its face. It's called Annette, and it is an upcoming musical film directed by Leos Carax in his English language debut, and he wrote that with the band Sparks, Ron Russell from Sparks, and they came up with an original story, music and songs, all by Sparks, and it stars Adam Driver and Marion Cotillard, and it tells the story of a provocative stand-up comedian played by Adam Driver and his wife, a world-famous soprano, Cotillard, and when their glamorous life takes an unexpected turn when their daughter Annette is born, a girl with a unique gift. What did we think, Damien?
So I just have one question. Is the baby supposed to look fake?
Again, it's mysterious. She's got a unique gift. I thought your question was going to be
like a wooden doll.
It may be. That's what I'm saying. There's some weird stuff going on this, and it's and you got to remember it's written by Sparks. They were off their face most of the time.
Yeah, that's true.
And I really did think that your question was going to be, is this town big enough for the both of us? Yeah, so I think that's why it's kind of moved across to this category. Is it? Yeah, what is it? To quote Faith No More, what is it? But Paul, what did you think?
Well, I think we're looking at this in the wrong way. Because we're looking at that.
Blow our minds.
Well, we're looking at that with Adam Driver, thinking, what are we watching? However, if we were looking at that with Nicolas Cage, we'd think that's another Nicolas Cage film. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you got a good point there. Actually, we'd be like, "Whoa, he's going to go full Nick in this."
Yeah.
So is Driver the new Cage?
There'll never be another Cage.
Whoa there, Brett.
Oldest statement to make.
No, I'm saying this was a complete miscasting, and for whatever reason, Nicolas Cage was obviously in some bigger production at the time, couldn't do this film, and Adam Driver was trying to be arty for the Cannes Film Festival. That's what I'm saying. No, but it looks a bit mad, doesn't it? But as I said, I was literally watching that thinking, if that was a Nick Cage film, I wouldn't bat an eyelid. It's like, of course it's Nicolas Cage and happening, and of course it all makes sense.
But yeah,
I think I'm definitely going to watch this.
Well, I don't know. There just wasn't enough in the trailer for me to say, "Oh, I've really got to see this." Yeah, it looks a bit weird. It looks like, it could be something, but I always find when they do that with the trailer, they've just missed one little thing out of the synopsis when they send you the pack, or they've just missed a key element out of the bits they show you in the trailer, and it turns out it's piss boring and it's just a load of dickheads running around being stupid. So
yeah,
to be fair, Sparks have been doing that for 40 years.
see, the problem is, I as soon as I see Cannes Film Festival, you kind of think, well, why are they making it? Is it to be all arty and to be at a film festival as opposed to trying to make a good film? And maybe that's a cynic in me, but from that trailer, you kind of think, am I right? It's just they're just wanting to, as I said, have their 2 hours of, look, we've always wanted to make a film, let's get it done.
I mean, is it a premise where actually for a 45-minute episode of The Twilight Zone or something, it would be a really good episode, but to then drag it out to potentially 130 minutes or however long it is, 90 minutes,
or even better for Sparks, just do a really good music video for 3.5 minutes, condensed it.
For Sparks, yeah.
So I think the answer there is, we'll let you watch it then, Brett, and you tell us if it's any good.
Yeah.
No, that's fair enough. I just wonder what the diehard Sparks fans think of this. Is this like the peak of their life now that Sparks have done a film? Is this the Sparks Mamma Mia? Or whatever it was.
What involvement have they actually had? Is it just the soundtrack?
They've co-written it and written all the songs to go with it, and whatever. Yeah, their names are all over it. I think they're in it as well at some point.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so it's definitely sparkling with their input. Oh
dear, I think I might edit that out.
Getting that out. That took me ages. That took me at least half a second to think of that. But yeah, I think it might scare a few people. So we'll give it a watch. Not in the right way, but it just freak them out. But that was Annette. Sorry, I forgot that. I clicked over. Right, next in the drop zone, I think we might finally have a superhero film Damien might be interested in. And it's called How I Became a Superhero. And the synopsis reads, who are the real superheroes? In a world where humans and superheroes coexist, a lone wolf cop teams up with a brilliant detective to dismantle a dark organization trafficking superpowers. From Douglas Attle. I'm not even going to try and do the cast on that one.
Fair enough.
But don't want to offend them. Quite dark, it seems. What did we think? We'll go to Paul for this one first.
So I think the production looked okay. I think the sassy partner and the existing cop ensemble looked okay. I think special effects looked okay. It's just the one thing that was bugging me is I'm sure I watched a film last year about a drug that gave people superpowers for a limited time. They weren't quite sure what they got until they took the drug, and then it was kind of random. And as soon as I started watching this trailer,
yeah, wasn't that Thunder Force?
Yeah.
No, it was. Why would you even say the name?
No, but I thought that was wasn't it in the lab and like different people.
No.
I never watched it past that bit, so I don't know.
But this was something else, like a semi-decent film where if you took a drug, you'd get a superpower. You weren't sure what you had until you took the drug, and it was, only temporary. and this seems another just spin on that exact same storyline. However, as I said, I think the actual trailer made the film look quite good, and probably a lot better than the film that I'm talking about that I watched last year. That's all I can really talk about it from the trailer.
Damien?
I only watched about 10 seconds of it. Just wish superheroes would just feck off. No. It's a superhero film.
But
I don't
it's
care.
Not.
It is. How I became a superhero.
Yeah, but it's a metaphor.
Tell me that's not about superheroes.
It's a metaphor.
Tell me that does not contain capes and spandex.
It's a metaphor.
It doesn't necessarily contain capes and spandex.
It looked like it in the first 10 seconds that I saw. So there you go.
Yeah, that's
Arse gravy, not interested.
That's why you need to watch the whole trailer. And read the whole thing I send you. You're doing what he does now. I thought it looked right, so I'm going to give it a watch.
Yeah, no, I just said
and we'll make you watch it. I know that's what I'm saying. So two of us are there.
I'm just saying the thing that bugs me about it is the storyline seems very similar to another storyline of a film that I watched last year.
Hang on.
Which I think was on Netflix.
A superhero film that has a similar storyline to another superhero film that you might have seen recently.
Yeah, which is exactly the same thing about if you take a drug.
Superhero genre in full, isn't it? Really, it's either an origin story of how someone gets their powers, or it's the third one down the line, and they've got some really super big bad to fight, and they're gonna win because they always do, because it's the American way.
These aren't even American.
I know they're not. I know. But I'm just saying. I was
talking
about his point of this. Just seems like another film that I saw. Yeah, that's what superhero films are.
About if you take a drug, you get superpowers, but you don't know what you're going to get anyway. Anywho, it's not one for Damien. I will watch it if it's free on one of the streaming services.
Fair enough. Next one in the drop zone, we have got coming from Julia Ducournau, I believe. It's called Titane, and it stars Agatha Roussel, Vincent Lindon, Léa Salamé, and it reunites Ducournau with Raw star Garanis Marilia. And it follows a series of unexplained crimes. A father is reunited with the son who disappeared 10 years ago. Now, what's making this even weirder, that Titane is so mysterious that an official synopsis of the movie has not been provided to the press at all. All they have done is given a definition of the movie's title, that Titane is a metal highly resistant to heat and corrosion with high tensile strength alloys, often used in medical prosthesis due to pronounced biocompatibility. That is what they're given for what happens in the film.
And that's what really pisses me off about this entire situation. The trailer doesn't give you anything. It's just a load of weirdos running around doing weird shit. And the company don't tell you what the film's about. So you want to create some sort of buzz and go, whoa, got to see this. I don't know what's going on. This could be really cool. It probably won't be.
So you're saying mainly like their arrogance has annoyed you?
Yeah. Like, I don't even think it's arrogance. It's just give us something.
I kind of got to agree with Damien a lot on this one. Even the trailer was random shots of scantily clad women or Vincent London, as you would say, Brett, to doing like some bits with muscles randomly, just seeming to. You didn't know whether he's just got some power or whether he's just like doing some exercise workouts. Are they trying to be just aloof for the sake of being aloof and building up you don't really know what's about, but because no one talks about the Matrix anymore. Is that a thing? What is the Matrix? No one knew until you watched the Matrix. Are they just trying to build this whole same thing up?
No one knew after you watched the Matrix, did you, in the end, really?
Yeah, but again, unfortunately, there's just not enough in the trailer to give you an idea, a definitive idea of what it's about. But as I said, there's some. It looks well produced. You can get that out of it. It's well shot. But other than as I said, the few scenes of scantily clad women doing dances or whatever they were doing, people showing off some muscles, but maybe through strength that they've just gained or whatever. Yeah, it's just hard to really ever comment on it. I'm not excited about it because nothing to be excited about at the moment.
I get the impression it's going to be very messed up. I do get that.
Yeah, but I don't mind if the film's messed up, but show me what the film's about.
Yeah, exactly.
And you didn't get that from the trailer, and it could be great. It could be spectacular, but there's nothing in it that says, "Oh, it's a tale of blah, 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 blah." Yeah, there's just nothing in it. It's just some random. No, but it's just I
know what you mean.
But there's just some random shots.
I thought it was Vic Reeves had come on.
See, that looked more like a music video that Sparks would do to me.
Yeah, it looks exactly
maybe that's
you're right.
Maybe that's the mystery. Sparks are just taking it.
Yeah. Is it coming to Cannes Film Festival soon?
This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Yeah, but as I said, it's hard to get excited about it because there's just nothing at the moment.
Yeah. No, I'm I'll end up probably watching it because I think it is going to be, or I'm trusting it's going to be weird enough. And also the fact that they haven't really given us anything. It does make it more interesting to me, but at the same time, why haven't they?
Exactly.
Well, yeah, but what kind of rationale is that, Brett?
David Lynch can do more than that.
Yeah, but that's not rationale to go and watch a film because they haven't really given you much. Brett, I'll sell you something for £100. I'm not going to tell you what it is.
It's just in this box.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't say I was going to pay to watch it. I said I'd watch it. Doesn't mean I'm going to be queuing up at the cinema. I'll just wait till it's on Sky or one of the other fun on-demand channels and things that are available now. So there.
Cool.
So two no's and yes on that one. Next up, if you find one, he's already found you. From the creators of The Killing comes Netflix's upcoming original horror series, The Chestnut Man, a Danish crime thriller that's based on the acclaimed novel of the same name by Søren Zevestrup. In this upcoming Netflix series, a young woman is found brutally murdered in a Copenhagen playground. Above her hangs a small doll made of chestnuts. Who did I go to first? Damien, go for it.
I've got a funny feeling I've read the book.
That's
I'm
nice.
sure I have. Yeah, I just thought I'd stick that in there.
No, good.
But The Killing's good. There isn't really a huge amount to go on in the trailer, but I think that's probably how it should be because you know what you're getting. You're getting a mystery, a dark thriller that you want to watch. So don't put too much in the trailer, but you still at least know what the fuck it is you're actually watching, unlike what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
So I don't really think there's a lot you can say about these kind of things. They do this stuff so much better than we certainly do in the UK, and
definitely.
I would probably argue they do it better than the Americans do as well, because they do go that little kind of step further, and a lot of the this is a cliche, but a lot of the horror or the fear actually comes from what you don't see, and rather than what you do see. And things like The Bridge, The Killing, the other one that came before The Bridge, I forget what that's called now, but that's how they did.
Dark was good as well.
Dark was after. I think that was after The Bridge. There's one before The Bridge, but I can't for life. That's what kind of not necessarily kickstarted the whole thing, but it made us over here aware of that Scandi noir stuff. It made me lose my train of thought, but they do it better than we do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you were talking about like what you don't see is more scary than what you do.
Yeah,
see,
exactly, and I think that's part of its charm. And when it comes to trailers for this sort of stuff, you don't really need that much of a trailer, to be honest, because if you like it, you're going to watch it. It's a bit like if you build it, they will come. But
yeah,
so it looks good. It's already on my list of things to watch.
Oh, excellent.
So I'm going to end. And is this the end of Drop Zone is. I'm going to end Drop Zone on a positive note and say, woohoo, something to look forward to.
Cool. And Paul, are you looking forward to it, or are you had enough of these sort of shows?
Sorry, I was just looking at my notes, and autocorrect made it to Chestnut Man, and it's not the place in Hertfordshire. That'd be a completely different film. Yeah, they're pretty much the same as Damien. I mean, there's not too much to go on the trailer, but you know the types of films that the Scandi noir thrillers, as Damien said, do so well. And the trailer's perfect for that. You know, there's not much going on. It's all about the build up. It's all about setting the scene for the film. I'm just conscious that I may be going against what I just said for some of the other films where there's not much in the film, in the trailer rather. But again, for this type of film, at least they give something.
Well, that's why I caveated it with you don't need it for this type of trailer because you know if they put too much in, you don't.
Yeah, it'll give it away.
Yeah, exactly.
And this will be about the whole build up of who the killer is and finding the killer if or whatever happens. It looks very very slick, and they've done it. Or the trailer looks exactly like that. A really slick production, and yeah, you can't give too much away, otherwise it'll ruin the film. But yeah, it'll be on my watch list.
And it will also be on mine for the same reasons that you guys just said.
And no doubt that little Chestnut Man will be on the stocks of Toys R Us or not Toys R Us, Smiths as a funky head thing.
Jeffrey is no more, Paul.
Yeah, well, he's in my head every Christmas. maybe the Chestnut Man got Jeffrey in Chestnut.
Yeah, that was the demise of Toys R Us. That's where he got him in the Chestnut branch.
Yeah, the Chestnut Man's got him locked up in his basement with the owl from Polton's Park and many other things. But so that concludes the Drop Zone.
Or does it?
Or does it?
Has not a very recent trailer dropped?
Well, recent, I thought would make it news, but that's okay. We could have drop news.
Drop news, drop news, drop news.
Drop news.
Yeah, as we've gone on air, a new trailer has taken the internet by storm, shall we say, and we've yet to see it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to be watching the new Suicide Squad trailer live for your enjoyment, and we will be reacting in real time.
Ooh.
I'm imagining it's mostly for our enjoyment, to be fair.
Well, and that. Yeah, I can see it now. I can see it, but not see you now. But
you don't need to see me, do you?
You've become a DH, so to speak.
All right.
Still see it?
Yeah.
Superman in the ICU with a
kryptonite. That looks pretty awesome.
Well, that just takes me back to Idris Elba's Silent Witness days.
I remember when he delivered pizza in Space Precinct.
Looks good, doesn't it? Looks really. I'm so glad they've done this to make up for the first Suicide Squad.
They got James Gunn involved, so that automatically made it 1,000,000 times better.
And the nice thing about this trailer is it's a completely different spin on the first trailer as well. Different
style and everything. Yeah,
different vibe.
That whole lot on the airplane are dead though. And that first bit, Michael Rooker and all that lot, they're dying. They're going to be the suicide
vibe to the original, to the last trailer we saw. I don't think it was. It's the same. There's the quips, the auditorium scene with the question. Instead of it going to Shark Man, whatever his name is, it goes to other dude who asks a question instead of Shark Man raising his hand and going hand. But I'm not dissing it. I'm just saying I don't see it. It's not different to the last trailer we watched. Surely.
Have I just become too much of a fanboy then?
I think so. I don't think it.
Film?
It's a different trailer.
It followed more. I think
we
got it
context.
I think we got it this time. It was from more the point of view of Idris Elba's character,
Yeah.
rather than just like here's a whole bunch of cool, crazy people that you're going to see. And I imagine as we get nearer, you're going to get similar trailers, but from the different points of view. I'm guessing Harley Quinn's going to have a trailer at some point.
Well, I was going to say, I think the first one was more focused around Harley Quinn as well, in her red dress, as opposed to her Harley Quinn outfit. It's a bit of a shame. But,
I want to see a King Shark trailer, just
King
like
Shark, that's his name.
one word, voiced by Sylvester Stallone. So it's just like I just want to see it like bird, pigeon, hand, just like villain. And the fact that I said this before, but the fact that the villain Starro is pretty off its face to start with, because I never thought that would be something they would actually use in a major film, because it's always been such a random sort of villain character. On the page, it's a bit weird, but in a film,
well, if M.O.D.O.K can get his own show.
Is Sly Stallone just going to go on Twitter with a photo of the house saying this is the house that Shark bought?
Probably. I think he's doing
10 words, and I managed to buy this house.
Yeah, I think he's he hooked up with James Gunn for Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and then he saw the group things like, next time can I have a thing where I just say about 4 words and get paid loads of money. And but it all looks good. But I'm convinced that most of the lot you see at the beginning all die straight away in various gruesome
I think
manners.
we said that the last time, didn't we? I mean, don't get me wrong.
I think it'll be
that
good.
hasn't changed my view. The fact that I do want to see this.
Of course you do, Damien. It's like a superhero film. You love superhero films.
It goes against everything I stand for. But
the villains, though, so you're all right. It doesn't go against everything. It's a dirty dozen. I just hope the one thing they've got to remember.
There isn't a lot of spandex going on.
The one thing they need to remember, though, is that they are the villains, and that's what they got. That's kind of what they totally forgot about in the first Suicide Squad film, where suddenly everyone had a redeeming feature. They did need to remember that these guys are sort of assholes and pains in the asses and not very nice, which I think Gunn seems to do that quite well, actually, just even from some of the quips between themselves. Whereas in like the original like Suicide Squad one, they end up going to a bar, having a drink, and then all becoming best friends, and it's just like no. And Deadshot was awful in that film, but I've mentioned that a million times.
Yep.
So for the news desk for that one, when's it come? It comes out July, doesn't it? I believe.
Yeah, unless anything's changed since we last.
Oh no, August the 6th. August the 6th.
August
now,
is it?
I mean that is a film I would generally go to the cinema to watch.
Yeah, definitely. That's a big screen. Yeah, August the 6th. Oh no. Yeah, in theaters on HBO Max, August the 6th.
Right, so that's the drop zone complete. So I guess it's time for news desk.
The news
items.
Okay, first up on the news items of this week is that HBO Max have announced that season 3 of Titans will be premiering on August the 12th. So probably about a week after the Suicide Squad, actually, putting it into perspective like that. That helps us a lot there. So maybe they're hoping it will ride on the coattails of that. They've also released a trailer for it as well, teaser trailer. It seems to be picking up well. The first 2 seasons have done very well and have provided us with a very dark interpretation of the Titans team that a lot of people will probably be more familiar with from the Teen Titans Go cartoon, but this definitely, whilst it is the same characters, they're definitely not the same, and it's even darker than the comic book ones, really. But and some of that bit got pretty dark. Anyone been watching? Any opinions? Any thoughts?
Yeah. So watched first season of Titans. I surprisingly didn't kind of watch it along with me.
Yeah.
No, I found it interesting, but again, for some reason, I didn't go back for season 2, and I'm not sure whether that was just because I completely forgot about it and other stuff going on. I don't think it was anything bad from the season 1 perspective.
No. I think it got jumped around a bit because I think they did some of it, and then Netflix didn't have the other bit, and then I think the first episode of season 2 is really the cliffhanger of season 1. There was all sorts of, it all got messed about a bit, and it lost a little bit of momentum in that. 'Cause I think season 1 ends a bit weird, but the first episode of season 2 is basically the end of season 1. Then a whole new thing starts after that. So you kind of got to get into season 2 to finish season 1. Yeah, and that was before COVID as well. So I don't know what happened there, but it all went a bit weird in like the post production, and some of it came out and then some of it didn't, in, at different times and things. So, but yeah, no, I'd recommend going through season 2.
No, cool. As I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with season 1. It's just for some reason I didn't pick it back up again.
Probably, I don't think it was there for ages. That's what I mean. It just all got messed about and stuff. And then it was coming on, then it wasn't, then it was postponed and stuff like that. But Damien, any interest at all?
No.
Okay. Also, news coming in is that they've revealed that DC's season 2 of Stargirl is coming back on the 10th of August. So it looks like August is going to be a big month for DC. Actually, it looks like they're pretty much dropping something once a week almost between the films and the TV series. Season 1 again was a surprise hit, and it was interesting to see a show that started on HBO Max having a bigger budget than the Arrowverse, etc., that we were used to seeing in DC on TV. Although it does still fit into them, they're on one of the other Earths. But season 2 is looking to come back a bit stronger. Looks like they might even put a bit more money into it. Anyone been watching? Any thoughts?
I've not watched it, as I'm sure you could probably guess.
Well, I was opening it up generally, to be fair, but I knew that maybe it wasn't one for you. Paul?
No, to be fair, Stargirl's passed me by.
I think season 1 is on Prime now. I think the Kiddie Winkles will like it.
Really,
but it has got that. It's got that classic. It's gone more for the Justice Society of America heroes rather than the Justice League. So you've got that more classic, vintage sort of hero thing about it.
And correct me if I'm wrong. But I thought one of the things that put me off about Stargirl is she's one of these superheroes with almost too much power. That kind of put me off, like almost like a Captain Marvel character.
Nah, not too much, or not yet. Anyway, because season 1 is more her learning to come to terms with her powers and all that sort of thing, and then also meeting the other characters. And she is a little bit of a brat to begin with, who kind of, takes on, it's almost the great power, great responsibility thing. She takes it on a bit more. But there is some nice stuff with the town.
Is there a lot of teen angst in there?
Not as much as it's not quite Dawson-y, but there is a bit in there. There's enough to fill out the 6 or 7 minutes needed to get the point across in the scene without it going. She's not walking down the docks looking out to the sea while some sort of emotional acoustic music of a 80s song updated is playing.
Or a wispy version of Def Leppard or something.
Something like no, they haven't gone that far yet. But we've got season 2.
It will happen.
But the cool thing about season 1, without giving too much away, is the town they moved to, because it's just got that real kind of Stepfordy vibe, and then obviously things get revealed as it goes on. But I don't want to do it because I think Paul will like it, so I don't want to tell him too much. No, he will like it. I think it's a good show. But yeah, season 2's coming back, and it does seem to be. This is the one. I don't know what they were thinking about it to begin with, but this seems to be one that's getting all the momentum now. I think people are switching, I think since Arrow, what we talked about before, since Arrow stopped and the Flash lost a bit of momentum, I think this is the one that everyone's kind of switched allegiance to now. I think Legends has still got its following, but the others seem to be sort of scaling back down a little bit now. They've, people have got a bit bored of them.
Yeah, Legends is the only one. I mean, I haven't watched Legends since about halfway through the previous season.
Yeah,
but it's not off my will watch list. Whereas I didn't even get to the end of the last season of Arrow, and the Flash is it's got too boring, really. So, but Legends, because it doesn't take itself too seriously and there's a lot of humor in it, it still makes it worthwhile watching. And you don't have to be a superhero fan to enjoy it. because it almost kind of takes the piss out of that whole concept.
Okay, then also in the news this week, we had a really sort of heartbreaking story involving Mark Hamill, and just shows you that the man is a Jedi on and off screen, and it's just about all the different things he's done for children in hospitals and terminally ill children, and he was just saying that he takes it as it's a responsibility he holds dear to himself, and he called it a privilege and a gift to be able to do that. And there was a father wrote on Twitter about how his son was dying of cancer and stuff, and then Mark came in and paid him a visit, and the boy died the next day. But it was just the look on his face and how much it meant to him and all that sort of thing. And this is just something Mark Hamill apparently has just been quietly doing, not necessarily with any PR teams at all, just going around and he's been doing that for quite a lot of time. And it's different people now come forward with all these different things that he's been doing or whatever. And like he said, it was, what was his quote? So I've visited countless patients in children's hospitals over the years. Emotionally harrowing to be sure, but I consider it both a privilege and a gift. I have been given a responsibility and I'll never take it lightly. So, yeah, Jedi on and off screen there. Okay, and now our last item on the news desk.
No, it's not the last item on the news desk. I've got some. But carry on.
Next item.
Next
item then. We've got a Cage Watch. We have a Cage Watch. Nicolas Cage has been spotted. He is set to star in a new frontier epic called Butcher's Crossing. And it is described as, an epic frontier adventure. And there will be a young Harvard dropout who seeks out his destiny out west by tying his fate to a team of buffalo hunters led by a man called Miller, played by Nicolas Cage. And together they will embark on a harrowing journey, risking life, safety, and sanity. And it is based on a novel by John Williams.
The line there is, together they embark on a harrowing journey, risking life and sanity.
Yeah.
Which makes Nicolas Cage perfect for this role.
But this sounds like he's going for the sort of John Wayne frontier, almost dead serious, but maybe a bit tough.
Well, let's not jump to any conclusions, shall we?
It's due to start filming in October, and apparently it is an urgent story with timeless themes, a gut-wrenching journey that explores the limits of human nature. All things we think of when we think of Nicolas Cage.
Oh yeah.
And it's slightly different. Well, is it different from him? We're not quite sure. How insane they go on this journey.
Sorry, I've just seen something else. Go on, carry on.
Well, no, I'm just saying we're not quite sure how insane he gets and whether he goes full Nick or whether this is him doing a more grounded role. But I was just kind of put off by the bottom of that Hollywood Reporter thing where it says Cage also stars in Pig, in which he plays a wronged truffle hunter searching for his kidnapped pig. That's the film I want to watch.
I can't believe you didn't mention this last week. I forgot all about it. I saw it last week and it meant to bring it up and forgot.
Yeah, that comes out July the 16th, so just in time for the summer. So we had a news desk and a Cage Watch. We found Cage. If you see Cage around, or if you have any Cage news, do let us know.
Do you find Cage, or does Cage find you?
I think at certain times it could be either, depending on his mood. But Damien, you said you had some breaking news for us.
Well, no, it's not breaking news. It's just news. So, because we talked about Martin Short a couple of weeks back when we were talking about Inner Space, and we don't see that much of him anymore. Star, which is on Disney Plus, has set an August premiere date for the comedic murder mystery series Only Murders in the Building, and it stars Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez. There's a whole synopsis which I don't need to go into. but it was just the fact that a few weeks ago we were going, Martin Short, he hasn't done anything for a while, apart from his obviously Emmy and BAFTA winning performances in a couple of shows that none of us have actually watched. So I thought that might be of interest.
He hasn't done
There is a
anything
long
good
synopsis, but I'm
recently.
not gonna- No, he hasn't. And to be honest, I've just read the synopsis as you were talking, and it doesn't really sound that good. But I've got Star on Disney Plus, so I'm going to check it out just for old time's sake, if nothing else.
And I'm going to wait until you check that out to let me know whether I should check that out.
Yeah, that sounds like a plan. And I mentioned last week that Manifest has been cancelled. There was talk of Netflix picking it up because apparently it's doing really well on Netflix, as in it's quite high in their streaming chart or whatever they call it. But they've passed on picking up. They're not going to go pick it up for a fourth season. So unless a Restore the Snyderverse type Twitter storm is raised, Manifest is officially off the table. And I have got one more thing, and I need to scroll, and it's not letting me scroll. There we go. Marvel. You know how much I love Marvel.
Oh, must be good if you're breaking news about it.
Yeah, I know. Have announced that the Good Place star Jamila Jamil will join the cast of She-Hulk as the villain. I'm going to go for the Shakespearean pronunciation of Titania, but that could be wrong. In the Marvel universe, it's probably Titania, probably.
Yeah, you're correct.
Yeah, there we go. Look at that. See, they just piss over everything. So yeah, I don't know what She-Hulk is. Never heard of it. Don't care, but I'm sure you two do.
She-Hulk is the Hulk's cousin.
Oh,
who got her powers.
Sake, you're taking the right. So the Incredible Hulk got his powers through a poorly planned science experiment. How does the cousin get involved in this nonsense?
I'm glad you asked, because I was literally just about to get at it. In the comic books, she's in a serious car accident and needs a blood donation. So obviously, her only living relative is her cousin, Bruce Banner.
So she's got a really rare blood type, then, is she?
I guess so. Gamma.
Oh, what are the chances?
And so he donates blood and she gets powers, but hers, because it was in the blood already, hers is different, where she's able to remain like normal when she changes. So she gets she goes all Hulk, but she's still got like her mental capacities, whereas the Hulk used to be like a psychopath running around smashing stuff up, where she becomes a lawyer, which I think is where
green.
the TV show. Yeah. So I think that's in the comic anyway. But I think that's where the TV series is going to go. I think it's kind of like Ally McBeal, literally on steroids or gamma steroids. I think it's going to be more that sort of a show than it is chuck on my cape and go and smash up some supervillains. She was more the kind of chasing it down as a lawyer type thing and solving the cases that way and getting that conviction. So I think that's the kind of, I think it's going to be more, well, if they do it like the comics, it's going to be more that sort of show, courtroom drama, kind of proving it. A bit Perry Mason, but he's 6 foot tall and green and can also kick the shit out of you rather than a fat old cripple in a wheelchair.
So she's going to say things like, you won't like me if he's guilty and stuff like that.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think needless to say.
But Titania was like the one who could hold her own against her in a fight. So at the worst case, you're going to get 2 superhero women beating the crap out of each other, which I'm sure Paul will like.
It's a thumbs up from me.
I thought you might come in a bit more there. I was trying to feed you in, but it's okay.
That's all my news. Well, that's not my news. My news is the bar's finished. I'm sat here now, looking at my optics, thinking we were just talking about gin. I might go and get one of them.
Okay then, well, thank you for joining us for episode 18 of the Cult Faction podcast, Dragon Knights, Great Whites and Super Fights. As always, you can check out all the latest news and everything we're up to on cultfaction.com. You can follow us on all the various social medias, which are all linked on the website. And if you want to email us about the podcast, Damien, what's that email?
Our email is cultfactionpodcast@mail.com.
So yeah, so that's a big thank you for listening this week. Remember to rate us on all your podcast apps, share us, tell your friends about us, do everything. It all helps. So thank you again, and so it's a goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
We'll be seeing you down the road.
It's where I wanna be. Are you taking a piss?
Piss break. Shabba.
One time.
No, Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
We are aware of it.
The robbery is one timeline. The zombies are another timeline.
That doesn't mean anything to me because I never bothered to watch it.
So all of our points that it looked like 3 separate films, we were right.
That's one of the things, because apparently it's going to be expand on that. So the one bit, like there's the bit where there's the guy when he goes like, I'm not doing this job, it's stupid or whatever, and he leaves. Like that's like one timeline. There's another bit where he does do the job, and it carries on or something. And there's a whole thing. One of the guys at school was on about it the other day. One of the other team, he was on about the whole.
So are you saying that it's when you say timelines, you mean as in
basically
the world is skewed off into a tangent, not as in they're set at different times within the same universe?
By the sound of how he was explaining it, it was sliding doors.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
See, that's the problem. I said he's thought about that film too much. Instead of making a good film, it's got all funny.
But there's more bits coming out with it because it was creating a new thing, so we might find out. And that was why. And apparently there's other bits in it.
No, you know what? He's had his chance. I'm only giving Snyder one chance now. He can't complain. That was his baby. No more. If he wants to come back and say, "Oh, it's been all arty and having multiple timelines,"
the studio made it different.
No, they didn't. He was just thinking too much about how to make that film good, and didn't.
Reminded me of the whole bit. It was like the Ferris Bueller's Day Off theory that the whole thing was in Matey's imagination.
I'd love it.
Ferris Bueller didn't exist.
Cry.
I mean, it's a great film anyway, but that would make it even better.
Yeah.